Here we go. So can you start by saying your name, year, and major?
I'm Kamaria. I'm a freshman and I am a kinesiology major.
All right, so tell us a little about yourself.
I'm a freshman. I'm from here. I live in Bowie, Maryland. Went to Eleanor Roosevelt High School, which is about 10 minutes down the street. So there's a lot of people from my high school here. I'm currently on the Gymkhana team here, and I love to do gymnastics. I've done sports my whole life, and I love them so much. And I like animals too.
So what Gymkhana is? Is that like
So we are an acrobatic gymnastics team, and we do performances here and at other schools and events around College Park area. So actually pretty soon in December, we're performing at a halftime show for a basketball game.
Oh, awesome.
And so we do like the traditional artistic gymnastic stuff like the bars, the beam, floor, vault, but we also do things like silks, chairs, ladders, and balancing and things like that as well.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Sounds easy.
Yeah.
How familiar are you with Survivor and like how the game works?
I'm very familiar with it because me and my family watch it together just about every season. This is actually the first season, the one that's currently going, that I've missed in a very long time because I'm here and don't really have time to watch TV that much with all the work and stuff. But it's a thing that brings my family together a lot. We like to sit on the couch and watch it together and like think of like theories and things that are happening in the game. And it's very fun. And we're like screaming at the TV as if these people could hear us. But yeah.
Do you have like a favorite season or player? Also, by the way, you have to watch the season at some point. It's so good.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I watched one episode with them when I went home for Thanksgiving break, and it was so good. So I need to watch this season. But probably, either Gen X versus Gen Z. Love that one, or Millennials versus Gen X. Excuse me. Or the one right before that, the Blood versus Water season. Love that one too.
Do you know
a lot of my favorite players came from those.
Adam
seasons.
Klein is like a fan of Survivor Maryland.
Really?
Yeah, he like has played like Drew. You've met him, right?
Yeah, I've met him. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a good friend of the guy that founded this organization, Austin. They're like pretty good friends now.
He's
like a
the
big fan
winner
of the show.
of like her like favorite season she mentioned. By the way.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
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 I'm just like. So if you had like a player that you like or like would model their like game style, who would it be?
Probably Hannah from the Millennials versus Gen X season because she was very intelligent, but she also knew how to keep herself separated from a lot of the drama and things that were going on within the tribe. So she was able to make it really far. Granted, she didn't really have that good of a resume at the end, which is why she only came in third. So I'd probably want to do a bit better than that. But she came up with the trust cluster analogy of playing. So I really like the way that she played the game. Like very intelligent. She was able to talk to everybody. She was very social, and I really liked her gameplay.
I do like the trust cluster as well.
The trust cluster.
All right, so let's get into a little more of the juicy questions here. I want you to name a time where you used someone to get ahead for yourself. Could be something as small as like getting a teacher to like recommend you to some program, or something like deceitful and dirty like that.
I haven't really done that for anything deceitful, really. Mainly just like because I didn't know how to approach the situation if it was something they were already in. Like my friend Noah, who's also in Gymkhana with me, I kind of used him and the information he had to get to the coach because I actually went to the summer camp here for Gymkhana when I was little. So I knew the coach already, but I didn't know if he was like still the head coach. I didn't know a whole bunch of information stuff. So that's the only time I really used someone, if that makes any sense.
That's a great example.
Yeah. So I just used him to get information in order to get in contact with the coach and stuff to get on the team.
Awesome.
And can you name a time when you had to use like strategy, whether it be in a game, on a team, just like you've had to really like strategize before you just like did
The
the
computer timed out. Is that okay?
I think it's
It's
fine.
my cat's name.
Okay, it's still recording. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So the
It's
time
not my cat.
a time we really had these strategies back when I used to play basketball, actually. So I played for my school for quite some time, and different teams, are on like different levels of play and things like that. So we had to strategize what plays to use against certain teams based on the size of their teams, how fast their teams were, where they scored. So like, were they mostly 3-point shooters? Were they mostly bigs who scored inside the paint? So we all had to strategize. But I played on the junior varsity team my freshman, sophomore year, and sophomore year I was one of the captains of the junior varsity team. So I was tasked with mostly sometimes being the one to decide what plays to use, call them on the court, things like that. So I had to say, oh, you need to be over here, guard her because you're about the same size as her, or you need to be over here because they're not guarding the 3-point lines. You can shoot, so you're going to get us a lot of points, things like that.
Awesome. So let's step into the game of Survivor real quick.
Mhm.
I want you to envision yourself first day. You're meeting everyone that's playing. What is the biggest strategy you want to go in and like execute within the game? Like, how are you going to go in and set yourself up to win?
I immediately want to be social with everybody, and like in a good way. I don't want to be like overly social and like intimidate people and be like, whoa, she needs to like chill out. But I do want to get to know everybody, see where everybody stands kind of, and just feel out who I'd want to work with later on, because working with the wrong person early gets people eliminated time after time after time after time after time. And you just can't. You just can't help but like laugh at them, because you're like, as a person viewing it, you're like, oh, I could see he was going to be trouble, and when you're in the game, you're like, you don't know. So I definitely want to immediately get to know everybody, see who I'd want to work with, and then also I wouldn't want to dominate challenges right off the block if I could, because like those are also people that get cut pretty early, because you can see like the first few eliminations are just based off of like looks. Like, do you look really physical? Oh, you're gone because you're going to be hard to deal with later on. Do you sound really smart? Oh, you're gone because you're going to be hard to deal with later on. So I kind of want to put myself in the middle where I could set myself in a good position for later on, possibly.
Awesome. And to that end, within the game, what do you think your biggest strengths will be, and what do you think your biggest weaknesses in the game?
Strengths, I feel like being social would be a really good thing for me, because I love talking to people. I love meeting people. I like making friends. And so I feel like that would allow me to get to know everybody very quickly, establish alliances pretty well. But then also I feel like that could be a weakness, because I do trust people very quickly, which I know you cannot do in this game at all. So
Nope.
you can't do that. So I feel like sometimes maybe overly trusting someone would be a problem. And then also I'm very competitive, which is a good thing, because I put everything I have into every challenge. But then also that could make people potentially see me as like a threat or someone, or if I'm just really bad at a challenge, like useless to the team. So they want to cut me for either of those reasons too. So
Gotcha.
It's basically a no-win situation.
Yeah.
You literally have to insert yourself in the middle, or else it's not good.
So how do you typically work in groups? Are you usually like the leader, a follower, a rebel, whatnot?
It depends on who I'm working with. If I'm in a group with a lot of more passive personalities, I tend to take on the leadership role, because I am a bit of a perfectionist, and so I kind of have a vision in my head of how something is supposed to turn out before we really start. So I kind of take on the leadership role to kind of help guide people to get things done the way that they need to get done in order to have the best outcome. But if I'm in a group with much more dominant personalities, I usually tend to step back a little bit and let somebody else take on that leadership role, because like I don't want anyone to butt heads or anything. I don't like to be confrontational when it's like negative situations, so I wouldn't want to get in anyone's way at the same time. So I let them kind of take the reins and just do what I'm supposed to do the best way that I can get it done, to that way help the greater good.
How would your friends describe you?
They'd probably describe me as funny, but not on purpose. Like, I don't try to be funny all the time, but they find me funny for some reason. And they'd also probably describe me as caring, because I care about people a lot. I like to make sure everyone's like okay in any situation they're in. If they're uncomfortable, try to get them out of that situation if possible. And also probably athletics. I'm always at practice.
So if you're always at practice, like what else are you involved in?
I am technically part of the BSU. I've gone to a couple meetings there. I've been to one of the ASA meetings. I'm on the Gymkhana team. I want to also join the club gymnastics team next year when I'm like used to college life, all of that. And yeah, I just do a lot of things. I do a lot of stuff within my dorm building as well. Like I live in Hagerstown, and we have events there all the time. And so I'm usually at those, like around everybody in the dorm, stuff like that.
All right. This is my favorite question of all the questions we ask all of our interviewees. I would like you to tell the story of your most embarrassing moment.
Okay, easy. So it was 5th grade. We were at a farm, and yeah, I just already seen that. We were at a farm, and we were playing with the goats on the farm, and they were on like this pedestal, right? It was like this block bit bigger than this, and there was like 2 goats on it. And they told us to get off, but me and my friend were still feeding one of them. And so we were like, oh, just give us 1 second, then we'll get off. And then the goat bit my jacket, and I fell off into the mud.
Oh, man.
And, yeah. And everyone laughed, and I was very sad, but I got over
You muddy
it.
the rest of the day.
Yeah, I was really muddy, but like, it.
You hated goats ever since.
Goat phobia.
Yeah.
No.
But I was just like, ah.
Now can we go to my favorite interview question? Can you tell us any lie about anything? Just make it up. It could be literally anything you want to lie about. Just convince us that what you're telling us is true.
I have had 7 cats in my lifetime, and like I've had a ton of pets, but my dad's favorite is cats. So we've always had a ton of cats in our house, even since like before I was born.
What are their names?
So we have Angel, we've had Delilah, we've had Daisy, we've had Ruby, we've had Snowball, Oreo, and Muffin.
Wow. Those are some great names. How'd you figure those out?
Well, me and my brother were allowed to come up with them,
Oh, okay.
and so most of the cats were when we were little. So you've got like 5-year-old names, but then like now,
Makes sense.
but then also some of our cats came from shelters, so they already had names when we got them, and they were too old to change them. So
What color?
we've had 2 tabbies, one that's gray, one that's white. That was Snowball. We had one that was black and white. We've had one that was orange colored, and we had one that was gray.
Wow, you're almost too good at lying.
Pretty good.
All right, so what types of people do you normally not get along with very well?
People that are just rude to people in general, I tend not to like them because there's no reason to just be rude to somebody. Unless they, like, even if they've done something to you, there's probably a better way to resolve the situation than to be rude to somebody. And along those same lines, people that are, like, impolite, like, if you see someone coming, like, directly behind you and, like, don't hold a door, or, like, if it's on accident, then, yeah, like, it happens to everyone, you just don't hear them. But if you, like, look them in the eye and keep walking, that's a bit impolite. And then also people that just think they're better than everybody because, like, everyone's different, and there's no one person that's better than another unless you're like Beyonce or something where it's been proven that you're just like superior. But
Indeed.
hey, yeah. So like if you're not Beyonce, you have like no reason to think that you're far superior to everybody else because everyone's different and like is unique in their own way, and that should be celebrated.
Awesome. On the flip side of the coin, like, who do you tend to mesh well with? Like, what types of personalities?
People who are very outgoing, I tend to mesh with well because I find myself outgoing. So I like to talk to people, and people that I can hold a conversation with, I really like. People who I can relate to. So, like, it's actually been really nice. I ran cross country in high school, and I found a ton of people that ran cross country here. So I can talk to them all the time about, like, cross country stuff, whereas there were, like, 12 people at my high school that ran cross country. So it's really nice to be able to hold a conversation with people. And then just, people that are just nice in general because they give a good energy off.
Yeah. Hope to provide some more of that good energy here. We're always about good energy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So it seems like you're involved with like a lot of things on campus, and Survivor does take up a lot of time. So what's your like time commitment, kind of scheduling like?
Like I go to usually like I've been to only a couple BSU meetings and like 1 or 2 ASA meetings. So those I could kind of push to the side if necessary. But Gymkhana, I do have to be there for. We have practice every day, Monday through Friday. But I also
What times?
okay, it's a list. Here we go. Monday is 5 to 7. Tuesday and Thursday are 4 to 6. Wednesday is 7 to 10. Those are all at night. And then Friday is from 9:30 to noon, 12:30 in the morning. But however, I have to meet a certain hourly requirement, so I don't have to be there for the entire practice every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to work that around this, I'd be able to do it and still meet my requirement for
times
hours.
Yeah,
will
we
those times
typically
are
meet
good.
past like 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, yeah, so that would
or
work,
on the
yeah.
weekends.
Yes.
The only
yeah.
day that wouldn't work is like Wednesday, and then I can like work around that.
Yeah,
if
Yeah.
necessary.
You'll be able to manage for sure.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that one.
So, at the end of the day, like, what do you hope to gain from the experience of playing Survivor Maryland?
Just the experience of playing Survivor, like, because I've watched it for so long, and now I get to kind of be involved in it, and then also to meet a ton of cool people because like I meet a lot of people through like activities and events and things like that. But I just like to meet a lot of people, and I want to meet people with like different personalities and things I haven't experienced before. And I feel like this gives you a wide array of different types of people, because you can't have just the same type of person play Survivor, because then the game wouldn't progress anywhere. You have to have people with different personalities, sometimes personalities that clash, in order to make the game go forward. And just to meet all those kinds of people, I think would be really interesting.
Awesome. So at the end of the day, we can only cast so many people for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know, what is unique about you? Why do we need to cast Kamaria? Did I pronounce your name? Kamaria for Survivor Maryland. What's going to set you apart from all the other applicants this season?
Because I feel like I'm a very well-rounded person. Like, a lot of people dominate just the social game, or just the athletic side of it, or just the intelligence part of it, where I feel like I am a mix of all of those. And you don't get that in a lot of contestants sometimes. Like, you see the people who come in who are like bodybuilders, or like these big, strong guys, but then they're presented a puzzle and can't do it. Or like the people that are good at said puzzle, but then won't be able to like lug the bag of puzzle pieces over to where the puzzle is taking place. I feel like I could provide a well-rounded personality to fit within the group of people playing Survivor.
Awesome. You guys have any other questions?
One thing. So I just want to see your like grasp on like reading people. So if you could just read all of us, what kind of like gameplay do you think are like, just go around? I know obviously you've only known us for like, we've asked you a few questions each, but like, do you see some of us as villains, heroes, manipulative?
I don't
like,
see any of you as
go
like
around the
villains, but like I see you being very intelligent and dominating like the like logic side of things, because you seem just very like focused on things. You seem very nice and like sweet, so I see you dominating
Very
the
accurate.
social side. And like
So
you
Very
too,
accurate.
I feel like you'd be able to really dominate the social side of things, because I felt very comfortable talking to like everybody. And then I see you as very just like team leader kind of.
Snake.
I see you as like the team leader. Like, if we were to form an alliance, you'd be the one to initiate it and kind of get everybody and kind of tell everybody who they're voting out this week. Are we splitting votes? Are we not splitting votes? Are we using the idol that Jimmy has? Are we using this other thing? Like, that would be your plan. And you'd also be the one to take people to the water well to talk about other people.
Snake.
You nailed it.
Yeah, you really did nail it there. All right. Anything else, guys?
No.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
it's great to
You
meet
should be
you.
Nice to
hearing
meet all
back
of
from
you.
us like after finals.
Okay.
Yes. Wait, do you have any questions for anyone?
Yeah.
Have any of you played it before? You
Those
did?
three
How
played
was it?
It's
Let
the
me sit back
best.
down.
It was the best.
Um,
They just
Yeah,
We
played.
just played this
Just
season.
played this season. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot
Yeah.
of like psychological warfare. It's cool. Yeah, it's more about like the outside of the challenge part than like really inside the challenge.
Yeah.
Especially who you're playing with. It's a little bit different than the show, whereas it focuses more on like the social aspect